do you really love this enough if you don't make money for 6 or 7 months? Like, you don't make any money. I'm talking about zero. Would you still have the same energy the day you started your LLC? Like, are you still gonna have the same passion when you post like, yo, you post, I just started this business, and everybody's like, oh, congratulations, girl, like, oh my God, you can do it. And then they don't buy nothing. They give you a like, they do give you a like, but they don't give you no shares. They don't support it. You don't make no money. 6, 7 months later, are you still gonna be happy with it? Right? Now, you have to ask yourself another question too, but are you putting in the work? Are you just focusing on your network? That's it? Are you trying to go outside your network? But to really, it goes so deep, but the main answer is, are you really passionate about it?
You're listening to the Black to Business podcast, an educational podcast providing Black entrepreneurs with the tools and resources to start and grow their businesses. We chat with vetted Black entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and business owners as they provide tips and resources to help take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall. Welcome to another episode of the Black to Business podcast. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall, and today we're going to be discussing how to put the work and grind into the vision. We spend a lot of time getting busy yet doing nothing, it seems. Now, I know that sounds rather harsh, but that's the reality that this episode will make you face. Being an entrepreneur means getting things done, gearing for success, and ultimately getting the win. Still, more often than not, we may find our hands in different cookie jars and sometimes not producing the results we wished for or desired. In this episode, we come for your plans and structure by unpacking what it means to have a plan in place that matches your goals and visions and turning the grind into tangible results. Our guest today puts serial entrepreneurship to the test. He has reinforced some of our behaviors we pick up along the way as entrepreneurs. These may challenge us to go back to the drawing board, find the gaps, and ultimately create structures that get the results and have a true impact on our daily operations. Joining me today is Dr. Jean Alerte, award-winning serial entrepreneur, real estate owner, consultant, educator, and mentor. Let's get right into it. So, Jean, thank you so much for being on the Black to Business podcast. I'm excited about today's episode because I know you are the man for the plan with this topic of working and grinding and putting that into your vision. So welcome to the Black to Business podcast.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be back on to the show, right?
Yes.
In a totally different sense, right?
Yes.
But, I'm excited. Thank you.
Of course. So before we get started, I want, for those who are not familiar with you, if you could just tell them a little bit about your story. How did you get where you are today, and what is it that you do in your business?
Oh, so there's so much. Just 21 years. So basically, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm in real estate. I work for Compass. I started my own business called ACA Branding Agency. I own a publishing company called Citadel Publishing. I have a program called Faith, Grind, Inspire, which is in about 9 to 10 schools in New York City, taught over for the last 5 years. But I started in real estate when I was 18 years old. I'm originally from Haiti. Migrated to Brooklyn, Flatbush, then grew up in Deer Park. That's where my roots are. That's where everything really started. My first little business selling mixtapes. And then from there, when I got into real estate, I went to Hofstra University. I started throwing parties to raise money so I could pay for school. And I learned marketing and branding and figured out how to leverage opportunities and figure out how to build relationships. And that really helped navigate everything else in my life, as far as all the other businesses, from Brooklyn Squirrel, the first frozen yogurt Black-owned business in Bed-Stuy. We ran that for 5 years. To writing 2 bestseller books, to helping other authors write their books, and so it's been and starting a podcast, and so all these things started, from planting a seed of just not. I have a saying called regret is worse than fear. And so not having fear of not going for it, because I know the regret was going to be far worse, and far heavier on myself, so that's why I focus on just building and not letting fear control.
Love it. Love it. And one of the things I really love that you mentioned is the fact that I think it's important for people to know is because I've known you for years and I do know you as a grinder and, serial entrepreneur. I think it's important for people to hear that and your success and the lessons that you've learned. So one of the things I want to talk about is putting in the work. And you have this platform that speaks about faith, grinding, and expiring. What does it mean to grind in business and the importance of having a daily plan and a goal and objective to live by?
All right. So you're talking all the stuff that I love to hear. And I love to talk about.
Good.
So all right. So number one. So, like I said, my program is called Faith, Grind, Inspire. My podcast is Faith, Grind, Inspire, right? So my favorite word is grind, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because I feel like you can't do anything else besides grind. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have belief in yourself, you could believe that God's going to save you, but no one can do it. The universe, God, whoever, Allah, like it doesn't matter. You have to do some kind of work. You got to put in the effort, right? And so they say Rome wasn't built in one day. Things just don't happen. You see people grinding. And when I say grinding doesn't necessarily have to be money, like grinding doesn't have to necessarily be for money. There's people grinding out here for social justice. Those are people grinding and they're not making any money, they're doing something for change, and all of those things play a major part in society, right? Now, for me, the reason why that's so important is because I see my parents, I saw my parents doing it ever since I was a kid. My father used to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and I would see him waking up and putting in the work and going to work and building his business and then coming back home at 7 every night for like 30 years, 20 something years growing up. And all of a sudden seeing him planning out the next day, and all these things played a part in my life, because I witnessed it. Sometimes you're around people and maybe you don't see them working. So you don't understand that, they're like, oh, the grind ain't important. But yes, it is. Because if you want change in your family's life, in your legacy's life, in your legacy, you need to put in the work, and there's no other choice. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's how I look at things. Everybody's always asking me like, oh, how did you get this? I'm like, I work. I have a thing called grind flu.
Grind flu.
Yeah. And this is way before COVID, but I used to hashtag it, and I really like it. And now, with COVID-19 and everything, I'm like, people, with coronavirus and flus and stuff, I'm like, you know what? I got the grind flu. You know what I mean? Like,
still working.
Yeah, I'm still working. Like throughout COVID, like I was still grinding, still. And this time right now, there's two groups of people, right? You got the people who don't want to work aren't going to work, but the people who do want to work are going to be so busy, right? That they're going to have to turn away business, because people want the people that work. People want the people who are going to put in the effort, and this is the time. This is the opportune time. No matter if you're selling real estate, insurance, cars, whatever it is, books, candles, suits. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to put in the work right now, this is the time. This is the perfect time.
Love that. And one of the things, like I know you mentioned your program, Faith, Grind, Inspire, and some of the things that you're doing is talking about the importance of doing that daily work. So for you, someone who encourages people to grind every day, and also you seeing your parents grind, how do you structure your day for success so that you do have a plan to have a productive grind?
Absolutely. So for years, since I was in 5th grade, right? I told you I grew up in Deer Park. So in Long Island, they used to give us daily, planners. Every year they gave us each student, they gave us a planner that we could use for our school year, right? And that's where we jot down our notes, our activities, our schedule for the year. But then when I went to college, Hofstra didn't give me that. So I had to find a planner, right? And so I started using planners since 18 years old. Well, before then. But when I became 18 and I started working on myself and figuring out, for me to be the most productive, I needed to write things down. And
agreed.
And you need to. And so fast forward, right? So everybody who ever worked with me or worked around me or mentors of mine, not mentors, proteges of mine or mentees of mine, know that Gene either gave me a planner or Gene told me to buy a planner, right? And because in the beginning, if you have nothing like really going on in your life, maybe you're just a college student or you're just a student or you have one job and you're not married and you have no kids and maybe, I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe you think you'll be able to remember everything, right?
Right.
And you think you got it under control, or maybe you have one social media account and you just figure, you know what? I can just put it in my phone. But after a while, as your business starts growing, because that's the goal, you want to grow, you don't want to stay where you at. What ends up happening to you is it ends up you start mixing things up. You start getting more clients. Did I do this for this person? Did I do that for that person? Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? And you get overwhelmed. And that's where anxiety comes in. And that's where the panic comes in. And that's where you start dropping the ball. And that's where you see people say, oh, I forgot. Or, and so you can avoid all of that by starting off by writing things down in the beginning, even when you have nothing to do. Even if it's writing down, I must clean my apartment today. I must take out the garbage on Thursday night. Even if it's that, just have the discipline and start being consistent with writing everything that you do down. And you're going to also start seeing, when you start writing things down, you'll start realizing how you can audit your day, right? And you audit your day where you can see where you're lacking or where you're struggling with, or maybe you see that when you audit your day, you see you don't really do anything. You don't really do anything during your day.
That's real.
Because sometimes what social media did to a lot of people last year, what COVID did to a lot of people last year was this in 2020. It showed people that they really don't do nothing.
Oop.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I said it.
You said it.
Yeah, because I noticed, because think about it. If you're always going on social media posting things that you are doing, right? But you're not really doing nothing. You're just posting for the gram. That was like a saying, right? Now you can't. Everybody will shut down, so you can't really post for the gram, right? Now
you gotta produce.
You gotta produce.
Yeah.
Now how you make money?
Yeah.
Now what do you do? So there was a lot of depression. There was a lot of divorces, a lot of breakups, a lot of people going through things that, that cause a lot of pain, and that's because, sometimes when it's like, not fake it, but yeah, some people were faking it too much. So then when the reality hit them and they had no choice but to hit the wall, they're like, oh shoot, what do I do now? And so this is why I tell you, you could audit your day so you could see, like, okay, if you're spending 9 hours on social media and you're not making no moves, you're not making no calls, you're not building your business in any type of way, except the likes, some people bank account look empty, but their likes they're more excited about their likes than their bank account. I'm more excited about my bank account than the likes, and so, and last year I remember, I really stopped posting a lot because I wanted to spend more time with my family. I wanted to do things more for my son and my wife, because I always asked. I was the opposite. I was always asking, I wish I had time to be home, and God gave it to me, so,
yeah.
And so, and I took advantage of it. And I'll send you a video on your phone, so you could see what I did at my house. And I actually made a podcast video about it.
Oh yes,
yeah.
He has such a beautiful family. I remember the brunch. So yes, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
And that's so great that you mentioned like spending more time with family. And it's like, even there were times where I've seen like entrepreneurs and business owners, they had to, it's nothing wrong, I think, with carving out time on your calendar to make sure you're spending time with family. But one of the things you also mentioned is that, planning your day in such that you get to spend that time, but you're also spending the time on your business. And for a lot of people, like you said, if you're not writing down what you're doing and you have no plan of action for the day, you're not really doing anything. And to see something written down, like you said, I love a planner. It's like a great feeling to check off things throughout the day. And if you have nothing to check off, especially towards your business, that's not a great feeling.
Yeah.
And
no, absolutely. And that's why I created my own planner.
Right? Yes, I was just going to say.
Yeah. So I created this planner with my boy Ash Cash. I don't know if you know Ash Cash.
Yeah.
The financial motivator. And so what we did was we said, you know what? We're tired of the traditional planner where it has a date on it. We're tired of it with a year. Like, sometimes you're so busy throughout your week where, before I get to that, a lot of times people don't use the planners because, it's dated and there's times, and entrepreneurs have different work schedules. Some people they start their day at 2 p.m. Some people start their day at 11 p.m., right? And they sleep during the day because they work in music and they do production and they're late hours, So the traditional planner that is made for corporate America, entrepreneurs can't really use those planners,
Right.
And so, because we don't work 9 to 5, 9 to 6, we might work from 7 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, some days. So we might have meetings at 9 o'clock, but the planner ends at 7. So what do we write? Where do we write it in? We're so overwhelmed and we have so much work, or we don't want to be on our phones, right? So we created this paper, a hardcover book, dateless, timeless planner that focuses on literally what do you have to do? Straight to it. There's no like how-tos. There's no motivational stuff in there. There's a letter from me, a letter from Ash Cash. It goes to the important dates. You have important dates every month, right? So it lists the month, and then it says important dates. So you write everything in. So you could literally use this book until it finishes, And every day we start off with gratitude. So every day,
I love that.
As soon as you open up to the date, You write in your date on, say on the left page, you write, this date, say August 1st, right? And then you write, what are you grateful for today? Then you put your start time, and your start time might be 7 a.m., 8 a.m., right? And then you write your top 5 priorities that you have to get done. And then you have 19 other spaces where you could incorporate things that you have to get done for that day. Now, if you're not busy, you can use that same page for 2 days. You might be able to use it for 1 week, so it depends on you and your lifestyle, right? And how many tasks you get done for the day. So we manage tasks, not time. So this planner is more so managing the task, not the time, because everything is, okay, 1:30 to 2:30, 1:15 to this. But really, you can squeeze some things in, but as long as you get all the tasks that you need to get done for the day, you get accomplished, right? If you need to make 50 phone calls for your business to grow, right? Make these calls and you write down, another paper or another document, maybe an Excel sheet. You write down, these are the 50 people I have to call, for today. If it's, whatever it is, that's your business, So anyway, so I created this planner. I'm excited. So far on pre-launch, we sold over 1,200 planners.
Wow.
It's in Clayton College. Shout out to them. HBCU.
Yes.
Pave Academy in New York, in Brooklyn. It's at 223 in Queens. It's also in Van Sicklen in Brooklyn. So it's about 4 or 5 schools right now. We're looking to grow it. We've been getting so much support. So many entrepreneurs will love the idea of the planner because they always complain about the fact that planners have the dates, planners have times. Sometimes they get so busy and then they miss a week. And then when they open up the book, they see an empty week and they get anxiety. Right?
Oh, yes. I can agree.
So they don't like that feeling. So they just put the planner aside. And then for months, it gets dust. And then in December, new year, new me mindset starts popping up. They go order a new one. And they do the same thing over again. But with this planner, you won't have to do that anymore, number one. Number two, we have it on auto. So auto renewal. So every couple months, a new one will just come to your house or your office, shipped directly to you. We have a subscription, or you can purchase 3 or 4 in one lump sum. So I'm really excited for it.
I love that. And that's about, like you said, putting the work into the vision. So writing it down every day and then writing a plan that works for you. I think I agree with people getting overwhelmed. So I'm glad you all have created a solution for that. So where can people go to order the planner?
So people can go to genealerte.com, right? So my name, JeanAlerte.com, or they could go to FGIplanner.com, or faithgrindinspire.com. Either one,
Got you covered. You got it all covered.
Yeah, we got it all covered. Like no matter where you go, like it's gonna be there, and it comes, and it's the perfect gift. You know how many gifts we printed our first test run with no website, no real marketing, nothing. We sold 1,200, right? And so I just look at it where it's like this is a necessity, right? And some people might listen to this and go, but we have cell phones, right? And I'm like, yeah, we have cell phones, but tell me the truth. With cell phones, right? With cell phones, with the technology that you have, how productive are you on your daily basis?
Yeah, no. I still love my physical planner. It's right here beside me. So I'm a paper pen girl.
Think about it. Like I always challenge my cell phone, no planner people, right? I tell them, look, how productive are you? Show me the statement. I want to see receipts. And they like, for real. I'm like, yo, I want to see if you're, how many businesses do you run? I'm like, how many books do you sell a week? How many houses do you sell a week? How many, let me see what you do. Because are you married for 12 years? You have a 5-year-old kid. Like, how do you balance all of this?
I can definitely see you challenging someone in their face because you do all of this and then it's like, you have no excuse. What is your excuse? So
I want to see. I want to see if you're more productive than me.
I hear it.
And by just only using your cell phone. And 9 out of 10 times, they're not. And so I tell them, look, I'm telling you this works. Let me tell you something else. I don't even have email on my cell phone.
Oh, I'm trying to get like you.
Yeah. And let me tell you why it happened by accident. I'm not going to take credit like I was that smart. Right. Okay. So what happened, it was my 10-year wedding anniversary. This was about 2 years ago. Right. And my 10-year wedding anniversary, I was like, we're making a slideshow. And while we're making the slideshow, I'm downloading pictures from my phone. I had an iPhone 512 gig, right? And it was like an iPhone 10 or whatever. And so so as I was doing it, my phone crashed.
What?
The files were so big. I had so many pictures on there, video. So the phone crashed and it wouldn't turn on. So when I was calling Apple, Apple's troubleshooting it with me, Apple Care, whatever. And they said, all right, we can start it over and you can do this, but you might have to not put certain things on, to make it like you're slowing it down. Because I have email from every business. It's not just one Gmail. I don't have Gmail. So I have, ACA, I have Citadel, I had Faith Ground Inspire, I have my personal email. I had my assistant's emails. I had, the info in emails. I have the emails attached to the Instagram accounts. I have all of these emails in one phone, right? But then I started thinking about it. I said, you know what? I'm not going to put it on for now because I have my wedding anniversary tonight, and I need to just make sure this gets done. So I'm not going to put I'm not going to put my emails up. Right. So the next day, party went great. Everything was smooth. I wake up and, during my meditation, I thought about it. And I was like, wait a minute, why do I need email on my phone? When I have it on my iPad, when I have it on my work computer, when I have it on my laptop, why do I need it following me? Right?
That's true.
No, seriously.
That is so true.
Why do you need it to follow you? Mm-hmm. When if I write you an email, right? Or you write me an email and then I write you right back. But you already went on your day because on your list that you wrote down, you wrote send Gene email. Boom. Now you sent me the email. You didn't think I was going to respond 2 seconds later, right? So you go around your day and you respond to my email because you have time scheduled that you check emails. So you don't check your email until 6 o'clock that night. So here I am waiting from like 10 in the morning to 6 o'clock at night for an email that you're going to respond to at 6 o'clock. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm rushing to respond to you, but you're not rushing to respond back to me. So that would happen all the time, and especially when you're dealing with corporate. So I have a tablet. I have a iPad Pro. So my emails is there, and I carry the emails with me anyway. So every day I have my tablet. I carry my tablet. I keep calling it tablet. I call it my iPad. I have my iPad, my planner, and my cell phone. So when someone says, and everybody, I trained all my people to know, like, Gene doesn't have email on his phone. So if you sent him an email and it's urgent, call them and just like, or text them and say, hey, Gene, I sent you an email. Check it out when you get a chance.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing business with you, I straight up tell you, oh, I don't have email on my phone. So if you really need me to see something real quick, just let me know because I have time. I have time blocks for email. So if you missed that, if you sent it right after I check my time block, right, I'm not checking it to the next time block, and which is when I leave, So,
yes.
So now, but if you tell me go check it, I'll go respond to it right away. But that's the training and it's 2 years. And when I tell you, it's the best thing I've ever done, because nobody died. Everything, business still runs. It's still thriving. Things are growing. Nothing really got affected. I didn't lose any clients because I missed the email. But the freedom that I have now of my life of not always being on my phone. And ever since I did that, the other thing that I realized is this. What did I realize? I realized this. People are always addicted to their phones. And me not having my cell phone, like I literally can take a walk and put my phone in my pocket and just walk. I can literally like go to dinner, enjoy a dinner with my wife. Like and you just look around, you see everybody's head is down. Everyone's on their phones all the time. Doesn't matter. Me, I don't do that, and I feel like a little free, and so it might not work for other people, but it doesn't matter. I'm just, I tell people all the time, like my truth doesn't have to be yours. You don't wear the same size suit I wear. So what works for me and what makes me function, because at the end of the day, what works for me is to benefit my clients and my family and me, right? So as long as I'm doing God's work, I'm good. And as long as if I'm effective and I'm productive, that I'm not changing my way for anybody else, But if I am going to tell you what I do, so if you want to take notes from it and you want to try it because your way is not working, then I'll show you what I'm doing. But I'm not saying that this is the gospel and you need to listen to me. And this is the only way it's going to work. Everyone has a system. So if you create your own system, what works for you, then God bless, But if it doesn't work, try something else out. And that's what I really learned about entrepreneurship. I learned the fact that even if I've been doing this for 21 years, there's things that you do. There's things that you have to make adjustments for, I'll give you an example, and it's something small. Well, it's not really small, but so we have buildings, right? And we have a lot of tenants that, move in and out of apartments. And one thing that we always had to do is we had to collect the keys, change the locks. Some tenants used to, go out partying and lose their keys. They're on the train, they lose their keys. They go for a run, they lose their keys, and they would call us and say, hey, we lost our keys. Can you let us in? And in the middle of the night, we'd have to come here and or go to one of the properties and open the door for them, or have the super open the door for them. And it was super annoying, right? So the solution was, hey, you know what? It's going to cost a little bit more, but let's change all the key locks to fingerprint.
Yeah.
So now every apartment has fingerprint and code on your phone. So nobody could say I'm locked out. No one could ever tell me that they can't get into their apartment. If they have a guest, they can create their own code for that guest, temporary. When someone moves out, I don't have to get keys back. All I do is go to the app and delete their user code, or their fingerprint from the system, right? 2 seconds. If they're getting a delivery, they don't have to miss the delivery anymore, which they used to. Basically, from wherever they are, they can unlock the door and they can go into the building and deliver the package. So it's more effective, right? It costs a little bit of money, of course, but the convenience works. Right. The convenience works. And that's really what I want to do in my life. You know, the older I get, the more I look at the convenience, the ease of life. If I'm in Florida and someone comes to my office in Brooklyn to pick up a package, I can literally open the door for them.
And that's simpler. And it's like the simpler things. And like you said, it costs a little more, but at the same time, it's that peace of mind and knowing that you can go do what you need to do and operations still go on. So I think that's important. And I want to talk about you being this person that is a serial entrepreneur. And for those who are listening, they may have multiple passions that they're also working on. Mm-hmm. How do you keep going when you're demotivated or you have no motivation so that you're not facing burnout?
Ooh, burnout. So, yeah. Okay. So most important key, back to faith, grind, inspire. All right. So you have to get into a business or you have to do things that you're really passionate about, like legit passionate about. Like I've been in real estate for 21 years, 21, not 20 days, not 21 days, not 21 months, 21 years, 2 decades.
Yes.
All right. And I'm 39 years old. So I'm not like old. I started when I was 18, but sometimes in the business, right, it's tough. There's no deals. There's commission only. There's no salary. And sometimes it's tough. There's no money coming in. There's no guaranteed paycheck. There's no benefits. There's no 401k. There's none of that, right? So there's times where, you know, you're like, oh man, what am I going to do, right? Do I quit? Do I leave? That's never ran across my mind because 2 reasons. Number one, I am not doing it for the money. My grandfather taught me this early on. And he said, don't do anything just for money. Don't do anything just because you see someone else successful in it. Just because you see someone else making moves, right? And doing something that that you think you're good at. You might be good at it, right? But doesn't mean you have passion for it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I have a friend that makes candles, and her candles she's featured on TV. She's featured in Oprah's magazine, like best candle of the year. And I'm saying to myself, because I am a serial entrepreneur, man, if I came out of a candle, my candle would be, you know what I mean? Like, I could do this. Like, I could do this, you know? But guess what? Am I really passionate about freaking candles? No. I'll support your candles, but I don't really want to do that, you know? Like, my heart's not in it. And so you have to ask yourself legit, like, for real. Am I going to, and this is what I tell all business owners when they first come consult with me. Are you willing, do you really love this enough if you don't make money for 6 or 7 months? Like, you don't make any money. I'm talking about zero. Would you still have the same energy the day you started your LLC? Like, are you still gonna have the same passion when you post like, yo, you post, I just started this business, and everybody's like, oh, congratulations, girl, like, oh my God, you can do it. And then they don't buy nothing. They give you a like, they do give you a like, but they don't give you no shares. They don't support it. You don't make no money. 6, 7 months later, are you still going to be happy with it? Right? Now, you have to ask yourself another question too, but are you putting in the work? Are you just focusing on your network? That's it. Are you trying to go outside your network? But to really, I mean, it goes so deep, but the main answer is, are you really passionate about it? Like, are you really passionate? Because you've been doing this for a long time, right? And you're passionate about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, Black to Business has been like, I was excited to get the call.
Aww.
You know what I mean? Like, I was excited and I was like, wow. I was like, I'm super excited that you made it through the pandemic and you kept thriving, because people see success, but they don't see the persistence. They don't see the hard work. They don't see the sacrifices. They don't see people saying, I've never heard of you. That's doubt. That's criticism. You know what I'm saying? That's rejections. There's going to be late nights. There's going to be days where your eyes are burning you and you be like, yo, man, I should have just got a job. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be times where you running around 4 or 5 different places. You trying to figure out, like, how the hell did this happen? Like a couple of weeks ago, I was in my car and I wanted to see how many miles I traveled in 2 weeks, right? And just because, I'm doing so much business in real estate right now. And it was crazy because it was 1,200 miles.
Wow.
And my passenger, he said to me, you did 1,200 miles in how long? In a month? And I said, no, bro, 2 weeks. He said, what? I said, yeah, I was like, this is crazy. I had to fill up my car like 4 times, which is like weird for me because normally it's like once a week, but it was because, sometimes that's what you have to do.
Right.
And you have to pivot. You have to always make adjustments to yourself. Like, you can't be everywhere. You can't meet every client. So, you have to make it easier for yourself as well. So what you do is, for me, I have clients that, have different time schedules to pick up packages at my office, right? So I'm like, you don't need to meet me to pick up your package. You just want your package. So your package is going to be here. I'm going to create a code at my office. Just put the code in, get your package, and you can leave and be on your way. And then now I can balance and I can go home and play basketball with my son. You know what I mean? And so, or take him to a class or do something with him, So I hope I answered your question.
You did. And that is, one of the things you mentioned is that in all of this, because like I said, I've seen you work and I've seen you put in so much work and also community, like you give back. You are always like mentoring men and people in general and helping. But one of the things you mentioned is that you never thought about quitting or doing something else. You always betted on yourself. And I think that's important to note and talk about, like, where the importance of that, but where that comes from in thinking positively and betting on yourself and even just the mindset.
Yeah, I think the mindset, like I said in the very beginning, it came from my parents, it came from me seeing my mom and dad, like, there's a picture in my office, and there's a picture in my office, right? And it's a picture of me in Haiti at 2 years old, and it says, "Regret is worse than fear." Dr. Jean Alerte, right? And it's to remind me, and it's literally right in front of me. So I'm looking at it right now, and it's basically reminding me, like, your mom and dad making a huge sacrifice for you to be here on Black to Business, for you to have all these awards and accolades, for all these people that you're inspiring, you're helping write books, you're helping them in school. Like, I have kids calling me like, yo, because of you, I went to college. I just had one of my students that I gave the Do Right, Do Good scholarship to. He just posted last week, a couple months ago, that he graduated with his master's degree, and this is a kid that, won one of my scholarships that his parents couldn't even pay for college, so now he has a master's, and so, and one of my first graduates, right, Amira, she's overseas doctor, she's a doctor now, and so we've been doing this, so, and I'm just saying all this because they're like, yo, how do you do, you're just one guy, but I'm not, there's a team. Because when you start doing positive work, selflessly, right, where you're not looking at just yourself or how it can benefit you, but really benefit community, right? People want to do that. That's why gangs are so popular, right? That's why people join gangs or groups or fraternities or churches, right? And networking groups. It's because people don't have the time or the energy to create their own. But if you create something that's positive and that's empowering people, they'll join up. They'll support it. They'll be part of that movement. You know what I mean? And good or bad.
I was going to say the positive, not always, but the good or bad.
There's good or bad. But the thing is, there's people that are like, yo, all right, I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. If it's bad, and that's what they want to do. There's other groups that are positive, and they said that's what I want to do too. And so, we saw that with the whole Black Lives Matter and all these things and the race problems. But the business part of it, if you're doing positive in the world, there's always going to be a few people or a group of people or a lot of people that back you, either financially, time. Like I had people with the Do Right, Do Good scholarships, Mo, Henri, Sasha, like all these people came together and we created the Do Right, Do Good Scholarship Award. And we raised a lot of money and we helped and we gave 100% of the money and the proceeds to these scholarship award winners, and then we turned it into from the scholarship. We said, we got to do something bigger. So what we did was we started the Faith Not Inspire program where we would go into schools to teach kids entrepreneurship and how to process problems. And we realized that if we teach kids how to process problems, there'll be less fighting. There'll be less kids dropping out. There'll be less people, angry in the world. If we teach them how to meditate. And that's where my business partner, Kobe comes from, Colbert, Saint Laurent. So he has a whole meditation, healing process, right? So we go into the schools and we meditate with these young kids, inner city kids, and we go in and we meditate and we talk about, I'm talking about these kids open up, they crying, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're crying because there's no teachers in there, just me, it's me, him, and them. And we take, it's like a 10-week program. So we do that. But then on the opposite side, then I have a program where we're teaching kids entrepreneurship. And I'm talking about from 5th graders to like 8th graders, and we're going into the middle schools. We didn't do it during COVID. So we were paused during COVID. But, hopefully next month or the month after the next school year, 2022 school year, we'll be able to go back in person because you can't do this type of work over the phone or
virtually.
Zoom, virtually. Yeah, you can't do it. So they asked me to. I just said no. I said no. You know what? I'm gonna take this pause. I'm gonna take this time out to spend time with the family, which I did, and now I'm back to work and I'm going. I gave everybody a break. I let a lot of people catch up. I let a lot of people, get their bearings together. But now because I've always ran long distance. So I'm looking at the long game, And so now I got my swagger back. It's a wrap.
It's on. It's back. It's back. You rested. Not rested.
Yeah,
you got it together.
I got it together. I rested a little. I did rest.
Okay.
I did rest. And, and like I said, and now my mission is really to help entrepreneurs be more productive because I swear to you, all I kept hearing was, the number one question I get from entrepreneurs is, how do you stay productive? How do you manage your day? Like that is, and that's funny because that was literally like your first question.
Yeah.
You know? And so, but that's what I get. That's the problem. And I'm saying, how do you have the new iPhone 13, the iPhone 12 Max Pro, the this and that, and the Galaxy and the Note and this, and then you have all these apps, and you know, and guess what? Your number one question to me is, how do you stay productive? You know? And then when I tell you, you have to write things down in a book, but here's the tool. You don't even got to search for it. It's right here, right? You're like, a book? Really? I'm like,
this is 2021. Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Like, there's an app for that. But guess what? My answer is, you don't use your phone. Every time you go on your phone, tell me how many times this happens to you. You think of something and you're like, oh, let me put it in my phone. So you go, you put it in your phone, and then a week later, you know, you're making calls, you're making calls, you go on Instagram, you're sending emails, you're doing blah, 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 TikTok videos, whatever you're doing, right? You're editing videos, you're posting content, you're creating, you're searching, you're Googling, blah, 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 blah. And then guess what? The thing that you put in that you wanted to remind yourself, you forgot about it. Or you put it in the reminder, right? And right when the reminder was supposed to remind you, Gene Alert calls your phone.
That is guilty.
So you pick up the phone, you're like, oh shoot, Gene's calling me. You press complete on your task, and and then me and you start talking, and you never go back to the task, because once you press complete, it goes into some cloud that you never see again, right? So
that is true.
So the task that you wanted to complete, you never get to complete it because you already told yourself you did it.
And that makes me think about so many, and that's why I'm like, okay, so I got to get the planner, because I am too a planner person, and I just have not so many. I kind of get one too. So, but the thing I noticed is exactly what you're saying. I noticed that I would try. I'm like, oh, it's 2021. Let me try the phone, and it happens, especially with those iPhones, when you scroll down, it's like all the reminders are still there. I have not done them, but then I go back. I still always go back to my planner, and I'm like, see, this is why you're so reliable, because this is what I rely on. Like you said, those calls and texts, it gets in a pile.
Yeah. And here's another thing too. This is what I tell people. We just spent a year. I know I hate it. If I do one more Zoom, like if I have to be, you know, like, when do you have a time to just write? You know what I'm saying? Like, just write, you know, like, just be yourself, like, just write for yourself. Like, you're on your computer for work. You're on your computer for your kids. You're on your computer to research stuff. You're on your computer to watch. You're in front of TV, Netflix. Like, you're in front of technology all day, right? All day. When do you have a chance to put the phone down? Just put it down, right? Put the iPad down, put the TV down, close the laptop, open up your book, and just write your thoughts. There's even a section in the book in the back where you can actually write down stuff, you know? And it's important. You know what I'm saying? Like, all day we're on our phone. All day. I'm talking about text messages, phone calls, you know, Instagram, social media. They trap you in the phone, you know? And there's people, I remember my parents used to be like, oh, I'm never, you know, phone, not me. I don't need it. My father now, he watches church on YouTube now. You know, like, he's searching Bible scriptures on the phone. He's always on his phone. You know, he's texting. He's FaceTiming my son. You know, like, so I'm saying technology is cool in a way, but at the same time, you need a break. You know, just for your mental self. You know, like, you need it's time for for yourself. Self-care is important, and that's where the balance comes in, because if you don't do that, you're going to go crazy, and that's where you're going to get burnt out, where you're always thinking that you're, some days I end my day at 2:00 in the afternoon, believe it or not. And
I was just going to ask, what does self-care for you look like? Because I know you're grinding.
Yo, let me tell you, number one, I sleep. Right?
First thing,
I sleep. I drink a lot of water. I hydrate. I take my vitamins. I walk my dog every morning. Right. I have silent time. I have my silent time is my podcast time. So I just literally listen to other people's podcasts, and I listen to the interviews, and I listen to the conversations, and with nobody, no texting. I'm not texting anybody. And this is just me time where I can zone out. And then when I come back, I meditate, I do my thing. And then on to the day. Now, another question is, when do I write in the planner? Or when does one person write in the planner, right? And I suggest usually you write in it towards your end of the day, right? So because when you're going out throughout your day, you're realizing like you're checking stuff off, but for the next day, you're not writing in the morning. I mean, you could if something pops up in your brain, while you're sleeping, and then or when you first wake up and you meditate or whatever. But for the majority of the things that you got to do for the following day, you write it at the end of the day, the day before, and that's what I do.
I like that.
So now sometimes if I wake up super early, I'll take care of like all my print clients. I take care of at midnight. So at midnight, I take care of all my print work. So all my clients get emails in the first thing in the morning. So that ACA is done. Citadel books are shipped out. I don't go to the post office. So basically I have an automatic label with the print, with the postage. So when I get to my office, I just print those out. That's like seamless now. So I created systems where that none of the problems I used to have when I was building the business, now it's different problems. It's making sure I have enough books in stock, making sure that, I have labels, packaging, like making sure that the staff is good, as far as like, whatever it is that they need, just making sure that their support is there, so.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because you manage multiple businesses, the next question I have is about like those teams. So do you have a team that works on specific parts of your business, or they all work on a particular business, or how do you separate that up? What does that look like?
Good question. So I always tell people, if someone came in to me right now, or someone's listening to this and says, oh man, I want to work with him, right? My first thing is, when I talk to you, what area are you passionate about?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not, and it's back to the whole passion thing. You see the train. If you want to see unhappy people, right, who hate their career choices, go on the subway, right? Go on the subway and check it out. And you're going to see the most unhappy people on earth. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what city you go to, so, if you see public transportation, if you look at the, so I always say to people, what is it that you want to do? Because you might not be able to, like, you might not like anything that I do, right? You might not have no passion in marketing and branding people. You might not have passion in real estate. You might not have passion in publishing and books. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's no place for you here,
Straight up.
Nah, for real.
Yeah.
So, but if you tell me, man, I read 20 books a month and I love editing and I love this, I'm not going to put you in ACA. I'm going to put you at Citadel. I'm like, oh yeah, you love reading that much? All right, cool. So I'm going to put you here. And so now that person is going to put their all in, because now this is something they want to do, not something I want them to do. And that's the trick. You never put people in things that you want them to do, or things that you believe they're good at. You have to put people in positions where they're excited.
I love that.
And so I have different people in different places. Like, I don't have everybody just, I'm the only person that's in every business. Like, I have a team for the real estate. I have a team for Citadel. I have a team for, ACA. I have a team for Faith Ground Inspire that goes into the schools. Like, I have a podcast team, and these guys don't mix. Like, I don't mix them. I don't say, hey, I need you to do this for here. And no, so.
Yeah, love that.
It keeps it balanced. It keeps it good, and I suggest that, so you won't have no problem.
Good advice. That is
now I with all the good stuff I just told you, only things that I've had businesses fail. I've had bad partnerships. I've had people stealing. I put a lot of trust in people, and until they mess it up, I'm a Scorpio, so that's I do that. I put a lot of effort into people that people don't put, and this is what I'm saying. This is why I am the way I am now, because I did put a lot of trust into certain people that probably didn't deserve it, or probably didn't even want it. Like you put in. You're giving people titles. You're giving people, access, and they didn't ask for it, but you gave it to them, And so sometimes by doing that, you're hurting yourself, and then the people are like, oh man, I'm not bitter about it. It's a learning lesson. You learn, you move on, and you keep it pushing. And I had businesses that I thought were going to be great. Like, I remember when apps first came out?
Yeah.
So we created a business called Get At Me, right? Where we,
what was that about?
Yeah, it was like, so that business was supposed to be where you join, and it was like a subscription base, and you created, we create an app for your business, and it was super easy for us to do. But guess what? I put someone where I thought was going to be good at it, and their passion wasn't there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, even though, and at the time, I was looking at how much money I was going to make, and it failed. And that's what I'm telling you. You shouldn't focus on the money. Because if the money is the only thing that you're driving force, then you're gonna let it go, and once you get the first hiccup. So literally, we started a business, and the first hiccup happened, and I was like, man, I'm not really passionate about this. Close it. I'm not finding another developer. I'm not doing this. Like, I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
And so, and what else? There was another company, when there was a lot of, we had Brooklyn Swirl. And so there was a lot of women that, I saw with natural hair. And, we got approached to make an app, where this is another company that was making the app. So they made this app where it was called Hair Decoded, right? And women would go on to this app and put their different hairstyle. It was like a hair calendar app. And it didn't work, it didn't work. So,
and do you think that's because what I kind of am getting two things. It's because one, you didn't have the right people in place, but then also the passion wasn't there.
Yeah, the passion wasn't there for me. You know,
Gotcha.
like, what do I know about women's hair? You know, like,
Right.
what was I thinking? You know, and it was because I was seeing, I was witnessing, what's that big curl fest?
Yeah.
I was seeing thousands of women, Black beautiful women, with their natural hair and like just beautiful, man. Like all types of complexions, like everybody coming together, showing. And I was like, and then all of a sudden I got approached, like, hey, you want to start a business with this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, are you serious?
You seen those women with the hair? You seen the fact that we spend so much on hair? You're like, oh, this is a win.
I was like, this is a win, Like,
yeah,
like this is gonna work, and it didn't, And so because it wasn't my natural thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and I was like, yeah, and there's so many, and sometimes you close a business because of nothing you did wrong. Like Brooklyn Swirl, we were doing great for 5 years. We took off, for a couple months, and then next thing you know, we got hit with violations with Landmark, which was totally out of our control and nothing to do with the actual business, but the facade of the business, right? And it took 2 years for us to fight. And we were supposed to open last May, right, in 2020. And as soon as we were about to open, COVID happened. So we were just like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign that we shouldn't do this again. But every day, I swear to you, at least one person asked me, when's Brooklyn Swirl opening back up?
Maybe it's not now. I'm not going to put that on you, but it's like sometimes there's a lesson in that for people who are listening. It's like sometimes it's not there because it's not a passion, or maybe it's not that moment for you.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. No, I agree. And sometimes you just got to give somebody else a chance to do something. Like, so, we're working on some things. So hopefully, when this is out, there's a new business, that launches at that time, so we'll see.
You do not stop.
No. Listen, my wife gets mad, sometimes at me. She gets mad at me sometimes because she's like, I remember a couple months, even for Father's Day, right? Father's Day that, passed a couple months ago, like, my wife was like, what do you want to do today? And I was like, I just want to do whatever I want to do, so that, and interesting enough, it was, I was doing laundry. My neighbor came outside and we were talking, it was, two fathers, and we were talking, it was like three of us outside, and he was talking about one of his, in his house, the Ring doorbell doesn't work. And I went over there and spent 30 minutes helping him reconfigure and set up his Ring doorbell, and my wife was like, what are you doing? It's Father's Day. Like, why are you washing? Like, what are you doing? And I matter of fact, on Father's Day, I was washing my car, like,
It's just the simple things.
Yeah.
Simple things.
So it's just like, so she was like, why don't you just sit down and enjoy your day? Like, and I was like, I will. I am enjoying my day. I'm doing what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Not what I'm told to do, which is a big difference. Yeah. And so, and I think with entrepreneurship, that is one of the biggest reasons why I became an entrepreneur, because I do what I want versus what I'm doing, what I'm told,
I felt that told.
Yeah, I don't want to be told when to eat lunch. I don't want to be told to like, people watching me. Like, I don't want that. So I rather work 80 hours for myself, no sleep, sometimes all the stuff, the stresses that I have, because I do not want nobody to tell me anything, because it's tough. Now, here's the thing. If you have a job, that's fine. Like, because you got to do what you got to do. I learned early on that I knew I didn't want to have a job. So what I did was I built my foundation early, right? So I sacrificed. So any young people listening, like, save your money, buy real estate early so that you could have your nest egg. Like we have investment properties. Like we have, if all else fails, like we have real estate,
Right.
So,
smart.
So I'm not buying red bottom shoes. I can buy a Bentley. I don't have one and I don't need one, and so those are all depreciating assets. Like I had a paid in full Range Rover at 21, years old, and paid in full. And I sold it because I was like, I don't need this. Like, it costs too much to maintain. It costs a lot of money to put gas in it. At the time, gas was like stupid amount of money, so it's just not worth it, So, I mean, granted, I drive a nice car.
I was about to say you drive a nice car.
What Kanye say? I didn't work this hard to drive a damn RAV4. You know what I mean?
Shout out to the RAV4s though.
But I don't,
You earned it. You worked for it.
But I worked for it, man. Like right. I feel this is how I feel. I feel like you should be comfortable in whatever some people are like, oh, as long as the car takes me from A to B, that's all I need. I'm like, good for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for me,
faith got inspire.
Yeah, faith got inspire. I need to be in this S550. You know what I mean? Like, I need to have access. I need to be able to put the top down and be, transform to a convertible if I want to. You know what I mean? Like, or I need a truck, so I have a truck too. So I'm like, all right, I need more space, so I need this truck, this Benz truck. Like, so Mercedes is my thing. They need to sponsor me.
Clearly,
yeah, because I love Mercedes, man. Like that's my brand, and
but it's what works for you. What works for you.
Exactly. And back to what I said earlier. Mm-hmm. It's what works for me. I'm not doing it for anybody. I'm not. Right. I'm not doing it for likes. Like my stock. I don't post my stock portfolio. Like, this is what I did. This is the win I did. No, I don't do any of that stuff. Because I don't believe in it. Listen to this, right? We talk about these kids. You know how sometimes kids post like stacks of money on Instagram and people like, and the older people are like, damn, this kid is stupid. Why is he doing that? Right. But then you go and post your win, right? So in that kid's eyes, it was the same thing. You know what I mean? Because he's like, yo, this is my win. I got my win. I made this much. I made 10 stacks. Like, so I'm going to show you. But you just closed the deal and for 10,000 and you showing it too, or you just bought a new car and you posting it like, yo, this is what I got, it's the same thing. So you can't be mad at that kid that's posting the watch or the jewelry or the chain or the grill on his mouth or the girl with the, whatever, you can't be mad because everyone's sort of doing the same thing. It's all like the attention grab. People want the attention. People want the gratification. And there's people that go on trips, not to even go on the trip because they really want the vacation. Some people go on trips just so they can post it.
Yeah. Like Drake said, they go on the trips to post it.
Oh yeah. They don't even go to enjoy the vacation.
Right.
They go just so they can document the whole shit. And they're posting the video, they're posting everything, that they don't even get to enjoy the trip. Mm-hmm. When I go on vacation, when I go to my house in Florida, like no one knows because it's literally off. Like everything's off. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because I need to recharge. When you go on vacation, you're supposed to recharge. You're not supposed to tell the world. And what if the world is a crazy place? What if you have somebody nuts that knows where you live? Now they know you in Tulum, but they know you're not home because you halfway across the world, right? Now they go in your house and rob you because you told them. And that happened to a couple people, like I think that happened to some rappers, they were posting where they were. And so people went and robbed their house,
Yeah, it happens. And
it happens all the time.
Yeah. So, and it's about your, like you're saying, like your journey, but then also like minding your business, but then doing what works for you. And I think people can be, like you said, this is important because people can be inspired, and you create your own journey, but be inspired, but it's not for you. What works for you may not work for somebody else.
Pretty much.
Loved it. And so this has been such a great conversation. I'm pretty sure people are, one, we told them where to get the planners, but then also how are some ways that those who are listening can work with you? And I'll say this, one of the things I really admire about you is that you are always mentoring people. You always have someone young around you. And I just love that you're kind of like passing the baton and showing and sharing your resources. So we appreciate you in the community because that's something I know you do for sure and you care about.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Because I feel like when I was younger, the reason why I do so much stuff as far as with community and kids and like the business owners is because when I was 18, when I was 17, and I was asking for help to the older guys, they used to look at me like, man, just chill, man. Don't grow up too fast. Like, take your time. Go play basketball. Go hang out with some girls. Like, you don't want to really work. I'm like, yes, I do.
Right.
I'm like, no, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to be 40 years old with nothing. Like, I want to be rich. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be wealthy. Like, and I want that Benz you got. Like, I want that suit you have, like, I want that wife you have, like, I want that, and I know I'm 17 years old, but I know I want it. So how do I get it? And they used to be like, nah, chill. So for me, I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't be that guy. So anybody who ever asks me for advice, help, conversation, you know how many times I get messages on Instagram, on the DM, saying that, hey, do you have time? Can you speak to me? I'm like, yeah, sure. And sometimes I don't have the time and you have to schedule 3 weeks and you have to follow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's important. Let me just say that. Sometimes, even if it's not me or it might be somebody else, when you reach out to one person one time and they respond to you one time, doesn't mean, and they say yes, right? And they're not supposed to follow up with you. You're supposed to follow up with them, right? And it's important that you follow up. And sometimes people get busy, so busy that they don't respond to you, or they might see it and they jumping on to something else because you caught them in transition to something that they were doing previously, And so it's important because people who are that busy recognize and respect people who follow up, because that's how I got to work with Diddy, and that's how I got to work with Kevin Hart, because I was so persistent, and I followed up so much that I probably annoyed some people, you know what I mean? But you just got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to follow up. You got to figure out, if they're, all right, cool, they're here. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see how I can add value to them. If they're that busy, let me, instead of saying what I could get from them, let me see how I could help them. You know what I mean?
Right. If they're busy.
Let me see how I could add, if they're that busy, if you write me a message saying, yo, Gene, I see that you're super busy. And I know that, I've seen that you posting a lot about, books. Is there anything in your office I could do for you for free that, at least 2 hours a day or whatever for a week, or I don't know, an hour for a week or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can come in for an hour this week to help you. Let me know. Now, guess what happens? When you come in and you help and you're helping add value to you, to me, to whoever you're reaching out to, that you want them to pour into you. Now you just poured into them. Now, guess what? They're going to help you. You know what I mean? And it might be a relationship with somebody else. It might be a connection with somebody. It might be, there's so many other things that could play into it. But you got to look at the bigger picture. You got to look at the bigger play. It's not always. It's give to give. Don't give to get.
Give to give. Don't give.
Yeah, give to give. It's a key. If someone asks me what are like two keys or two successes, two things that I do that make me so successful, I guess, is number one, I'm persistent as hell, right? Like I don't give up. Once I have my sight on a target, I get it. Once I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it to my best ability because I believe in it. Number one, that's number one. Number two, so I follow up, I'm persistent. And the second part about it is that I had real discipline, right? Real discipline. And if you have discipline in your life where you can control yourself, where you control your actions, and you know exactly what you gotta get done, you're gonna win, And also the giving, so I give time, I give effort, I give, my 20 years, 21 years, 22 years of because it's going on 22. So where you're thinking about the things I could do. Like I want to see how can I help Black to business? You know what I mean? I'm not saying how can Black to business help me?
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I want to add value to her, and I want to figure out how I can get it done for her. And that's and her team. And that's what makes it so exciting, and those are the parts when you want to build your business, you have to think about how can I add value to this person, to Monique, to whoever, and if you start thinking like that versus the opposite, which is how can Monique add value to Gene? That's the wrong way to do it because now guess what? You're looking at it like I'm too. I got so much going on. I can't help one more person right now. Like
right. That's how people think.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do anything else. I'm feeling burnt out. I'm feeling stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's pulling at me because that's what it feels like. It legit feels like everyone's pulling at you. You're like an octopus, and I have a lot of political friends. So even when the mayor's race, the politicians' race, everybody, you have the mayor, you have judges, you have, councilmen. I know a lot of these people, and sometimes you feel like everyone's pulling at you. You know what I mean? And then you have your family, then you have clients, then you have work, then you have, everyone needs something, and everyone's always going to need something when you're in business. So if you really about it, and if you really understand why you're doing it, right? Sometimes you're like, all right, cool. This is the life I asked for. You know what I mean? Like
that's key. People, that's key because people have to remember what you asked for. You asked for this, now you got it. Now you got to work it. So yeah.
You asked for this freedom. You asked for this. So now you can't complain. You can't complain that you got it.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's it. Oh, so where can people find me, right? Sorry.
Well, so before that, okay. Before that though, if somebody, because speaking of work and people wanting to connect with you, how are some of the ways that they can work with you in terms of like the services that you offer? I know you mentioned the Faith Grind Inspire. You have a program. So what are some different ways that people can work?
Okay. So the work, you said work for me or what
work with you.
Oh, work with me. All right, cool. So Faith Grind Inspire, right, is the program. And of course it had the planner. But you can go to faithgrindinspire.com. and you'll see it. But Faith Not Inspired, if you're a school teacher, a dean in New York, I'm a DOE vendor, and we have a 10-week program, an after-school program, a college access program, a mentorship program. We call it, we have a young men's group program called Groundwork, right? That's the meditation. Yeah, that's the meditation program. We don't have anything for women, young women now, young ladies. But hopefully, we can build that and, put that leg on there. But right now it's for the boys, right? Our young gentlemen, our young kings,
Yes.
And so I want to put a lot of work into them, because even if you notice during the whole COVID and lockdown, what I was fearing happened. A lot of these kids are dying now. A lot of these kids are going to jail. A lot of these kids are getting locked up because they don't know how to process. They didn't know how to process problems before, and then you put a global pandemic on them. You took them away from school. You closed down the schools, so now they don't have an outlet to speak to anybody. They don't have an outlet. So now, remember what I told you about the groups. So now, if you don't know how to process problems, and you don't know you don't have any mentors, and you don't know, and no one's telling you to look for mentors, right? And the mentors are too busy to find you, right? They're not going to go to you know what I'm saying? So now, guess what? There's another group of people that's going to come get you. Hey, come over here. Let's rob this person. Let's shoot this person. Let's go here. Let's go that. Boom, boom, boom. And that's what happens. That's the reality, right? They said in New York, shootings and gun violence hasn't been like this since the 60s.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm always getting a notification on my Citizen app. I'm like, what is happening now?
Yeah, exactly. What is going on? It's like New York is becoming Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, this is nuts. Yeah. But I say, and I don't think like my program alone could, help everyone, but I know it's helped the thousands of kids that I've worked with, and because I know it's for sure it worked. So if you're an educator, if you're a parent, listening with teenage boys or, any type of, any teenagers, you could suggest my program to your kid's school, the principal, the vice principal, the deans. Like I said, it's called Faith Not Inspire. And you could always just reach out to me, with email or whatever. My website is genealert.com. So if you are if you want to publish your book and own the rights of your book, right? We have Citadel Publishing, where we help independent authors, right? Self-published authors publish their books. So they don't have to go on that journey by themselves. Yeah, they could do it by themselves, but it's a lot tougher. They don't have the resources. Sometimes they don't have the connections. And sometimes you could tell when somebody really self-publishes by themselves and then they go through a publishing house. Our books look professional. They look like Simon Schuster did it, and that's the level. No. And we create websites for our clients. I'm talking about high quality, high resolution covers, no blurry stuff. We're not doing book covers on Canva, and so, yeah, man. So we do our stuff legit, and we consult. We've been on national TV. Our books, we're self-published. We've been on the Today Show. We've been on Fox. We've been in Essence. We've done book festivals. We sold thousands and thousands of books. So what we do is we consult. So you don't have to go through it by yourself and try to figure it out. You have the team over here that can help you do that, and give you the guidance that, so you don't have to go through those roadblocks that we went through. We can teach you how to get into the magazines. We can teach you how to get without a publicist, and sometimes you do have to hire a publicist to do the work, to put the press release out and write it up for you. But there's a lot of things that you can do on yourselves, by yourselves. So that's Citadel. Now, ACA, if you're a business owner, and you feel like you hit a wall, you hit a plateau, like Monique said, talking about feeling like, overwhelmed, or you feel like you're about to give up, or you're starting a business and you don't want to feel like that. If you want to consult with me directly, you could do that. I have no problem with that. You just go to acabranding.com, or you could just literally just go to genealert.com and click on ACA or work with Gene. And so I consult. My rates are very reasonable. I make them reasonable so that a lot of people can, I can help more people, versus making my rate super expensive and make it like unattainable for some. So that's ACA, and you can find my podcast. It's Faith Ground Inspire. I'm on all the stuff platforms. We haven't recorded. We haven't recorded in a while, but then we started recording again. We took a break because I didn't want to do the virtual video. I didn't want to do Zoom outside of it. So we did some in person, we did some Instagram ones, and but yeah, so that's Faith Ground Inspire, where we talk about the mindset of entrepreneurs. And yeah, so that's really it. Oh my God, I almost forgot. So my son last Christmas, right?
Oh.
Yeah, last Christmas I gifted my son a business called we started a business called A New Canvas Print, right?
Oh, I love this. I love it already.
Yeah, A New Canvas Print. And so his name is Anu, and ANU. And so basically, which means King of God, right? Yeah. And so
he's so adorable.
Thank you. And he acts like it too. So now you could take any picture, and basically you post it up, right? And you create a canvas from it, And so, yeah, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Like clients, he has clients every week, big clients too, the editor-in-chief of Vibe magazine, Daytwan. He has like 2 of them in his house, so he got one for his daughter, him and his daughters, and him and his mom and his wife, so those are some cool ones. But yeah, anewcanvasprints.com is that website. My wife has a business that
I love this. I love it.
She has like a healing business, right? And basically she does it's called Biontology. And basically she does like hand scans for people and all natural health stuff, but it's like really, really high tech, really cool stuff. So that's what she does. And let me since we're on her, let me give her a shout out since we're, so now,
yes,
right in 2019, right? We were watching, there was a movie that came out. Do you remember that movie where, there was a bunch of movies that came out where it was all you saw was, black person, mostly black male driving a car, gets pulled over, gets shot. It was like constant. It was in the movies, it's in the media, it's everywhere. So my wife said, why does this keep happening? And I said, do something about it. And she was like, you know what? I am. And so long story short, she came up with this idea called she called it the badge. It's a badge, right? And basically she won the patent, right? She won a patent. Yeah, United States patent. And basically it's something that goes in the car that could identify, like, so the cops could scan it and your information would go to their product, to their, machine. So you wouldn't have to reach over for anything anymore. They won't say that, your hands they thought it was a gun, or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you won't have to go through that product and a problem anymore. It's called the car safety badge. That's what it's called.
And that is so innovative. And it's sad we need that, but that's so innovative.
So she's working. She's working right now, and I'm super proud of her on that. And so baby, keep going, And so, because and if you listen to all of this stuff, like, everything is always based around helping people, making things better. From the business planner helping people. Because even with the planner, right? I was in the process of writing the book called "Regret is Worse Than Fear." That's what I was doing, and that's what I was gonna do during the whole pandemic. And then in the middle of that, I called Ashcash, because Ashcash and I were supposed to write that book, and we were supposed to write another book called "Mind Right, Grind Right," right? And so now I stopped and I said, "Yo, Ash, we need to write a planner. We need to create a planner that's actually going to help people, because people can write books all day, right? And I'm not against publishing books, of course, but I wanted a tool that people can use every day, and even if, you know what I'm saying? So that's why. So every business that I've ever had or will have always helps the greater good,
I like that.
And so the last thing is I work for Compass. I've been in real estate for 21. So actually, I've been in real estate for 20 years. And so with that, I, help sell, buy properties. If you want to talk about real estate, getting into real estate, if you want to sell a home, if you want to buy a home, that's my thing, So I focus on New York, especially Long Island, Brooklyn area, and parts of Queens, So I have lawyers, I have bankers, I have everybody that you need. So you don't need a team, because the team is here, So anybody you need, I got. I'm a connector. That's another thing, Monique. Like,
yes.
I have people call me for everything. Like, I'm talking about someone's mother passed away, right? And the first thing they did was crazy, because she told me this. She said, the first thing I did was call you to because I knew I needed an obituary printed. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make sure, like, I called you to make sure to see that you could do it, because I want you to do it. And I was like, wow, like, but then, I have people call me for lawyers. I have people call me for accountants. I have people call me for dentists. Like, like, yeah.
I'm even thinking of a couple of things like, I'm thinking of things like, I got to call him for that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So if you do anything, so if you have any questions, if you're looking for someone, trademark attorneys, LLCs, like, whatever you need, I got a guy, And so, because my business spans from, I was in the comedy space working with Kevin Hart, Tony Rock, like Will Savant, Corey Holcomb, Capone. Like, I was doing tours with those guys, I worked with NFL players, Jeffrey Pope from the Giants, like, all these guys. I did a lot, So, and I tried everything. I want, when I pass on, and I'm, the tombstone says, Gene Gene, the guy who's resting, he's done. Like, he did everything that he could possibly do, you know?
Yes.
Some people that come to my house, they come to my house, right, Moni? And they say, who did this work? Who put these floors in? I'm like, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. They're like, this wood fence looks great. Who did this? I'd be like, I did. They're
wow.
Like, what? They're like, what? Where the hell did you become a contractor? I'm like, during COVID, I went to YouTube University and I became, you know, like, I learned how to do it. I learned how to stain. I learned how to lay down tile because, you know, I'm like, I'm not paying $4,000 to put tile on the floor, you know? So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I learned, you know, in my office, when you come to the office, you'll see. Like, my office looks totally different from the last time you came here. But yeah, like, you know, you got to learn how to do some things by yourself, and you have to be able to adapt. You don't need to be dependent. That's another thing about entrepreneurship. You don't have to be dependent on other people. Before you be able to outsource work, you should be able to do everything that you're asking someone else to do, you know? And as at least for your business, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah. So,
and that's even with costing, because I heard someone say that the other day, they want to know how to do most things so they're not being taken advantage of when it comes to pricing and things like that.
Oh,
so,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Let me tell you, I'm not a designer, but designers used to tell me, oh, this is going to take so much time and it's going to cost so much money and it's not, And I used to be like, because I didn't know how to do it. So I believed them. Or I'll be like, yeah, I'll pay you extra. Right?
Right.
And guess what? I went and took my ass and did a Photoshop. I took a Photoshop class and learned how to do it. I was like, it took 5 minutes.
There are some things, yeah, you're right. But some things people, you know, do a little different. But I get what you're saying there.
Yeah. You know, yeah. So I'm, you know, I'm just, that's just a little small thing. But like changing a color or, you know, keeping certain parts of the card or the design one way and just changing the background color. You know, for me, not knowing anything, I'm like, damn, that's hard. How are you going to do that? You know?
Yeah.
So,
thinking about it.
But if somebody tells you, yeah, you know, there's a story. There was a big company, right? Multi-million-dollar company, right? And they hired a consultant to come into the business, and the consultant said, you know, for me to do this, it's going to cost $100,000 for me, you know, for you to retain my services, right? So the company hired the guy. He comes in legit for like 5 minutes or 4 minutes or something like that. He comes in and he does one thing, right? And he does one thing.
And probably crazy.
And it was something simple, and he just did it. And the problem was solved. And so they were mad. The company was mad because they were like, wait a minute. We just paid you $100,000 and it took you 5 minutes. And he said, yeah, you're not paying me. You're not paying me for the amount of time it took me to do it. You're paying me because you didn't know how to do it.
That is true. Joke's on you. But yeah.
Yeah, see? And that's the thing. You see what I'm saying? Like, and so you're not paying someone. Some people are like, oh, why am I paying you X amount of dollars? Because you don't know how to do it.
Right.
You know, the reason why someone could come in here and tell me they're going to charge me $4,000 for a floor is because they think that I don't know how to do it because I'm in the suit and I look like my hands don't get dirty and I don't want to, you know, get tin set on my hands and my fingers. So they assume that, right? But that's not the reality, you know? So I'm like, no, I'm not paying you to do that. Like, I could do it myself. And they're like, yeah, right. And then when I do it, they're like, oh, you did do it.
Yeah. So Faith, grind, and inspiring. We have been truly inspired today. And I thank you so much for being on the show. And
absolutely.
I'm definitely going to list all of the links that you said. I really love that you shouted out your wife and your child, because I think that's your son, because I think that's so important. But we got to put the links in the bios in the resources page. So thank you, Gene, so much for being here and being on the podcast.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And keep going, like keep pushing.
Thank you.
And I love what you're doing. Like you're inspiration to so many too. And however I could help, if I, by telling other people about, to be a guest on your show, or, just spreading the word, like I'll continue to do that. Cause I always talk about you. So,
we know the circles. We running in the same circles.
Facts.
Love it. Until next time.
We really unpacked so much within the episode, and I hope you also found this information useful. What resonated with me the most is being driven by passion over profit. Adamantly, we all want to see those big bank account balances for our business, but the truth is, without the passion and constant drive, this could lead to burnout and giving up. I'm a creature of planning and habits, and having Gene affirm the habits I have in place is a reminder to always find what works for you and your grind and stick to it. There are a lot of distractions, and we have to constantly find creative and productive ways to block these out and get the job done. If you're in business or just starting out, I encourage you to create systems and processes that put things into perspective for you and allow you to plan your operations efficiently. Get those daily planners if needed and cross out some work. Continue to strive for excellence and remember why you started. Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to check out blacktobusiness.com/56 for complete show notes and resources mentioned during this episode. We would also be so grateful if you could rate and review this episode and our show to let us know how helpful this has been for you. Until next time, family.